John, it's a safe bet that our viewers and the rest of the world are waiting with bated breath as Donald Trump returns to the now historic site in Butler, PA, the Farm Show Fairgrounds, where not even 3 months ago, there was an assassination attempt that you and I have been discussing quite a lot. How are you, John?
I'm well. I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm not nervous that it's going to happen again, but it's unsettling for sure. It's like if John Wilkes Booth missed the first time, would Abe Lincoln have gone back to see another,
Right,
another presentation of the same
right.
play?
Another performance. Yeah.
I don't think so, right? So again, it's nerve wracking. I understand that he wants to, do this for Corey Comparatori's family, and I think everybody feels that the same way about that.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
a
let me,
risky
for a
venue.
minute,
It's just a
take you on
risky venue.
it's right,
I
it's
don't like the
risky.
venue.
Let me
I don't
take
like
you
the
on a
venue.
counterpoint for a moment, if I may, because you've just raised some excellent points, some excellent counterpoints. We don't want to cower in the face of bullies, whether they be assassins, Tren de Aragua, some kid on the school bus. We cannot let thugocracy or thugism rule the day. And so from that standpoint, I really do appreciate what President Trump is planning to do. It definitely sends a message. I mean, Elon Musk said that this was, bold leadership. And I think Elon Musk has even announced that he's going to be there. So it's like a much bigger deal than it was the first time around. But, I share your concern that I'm not sure that this is a safe venue for any presidential candidate to go to in the first place. I think a lot of people saw on X, people are following a lot of what you and I discuss on X, a lot of interactivity on there. But the other day, I was actually in Butler, PA, after my trip to to DC. I went and did a little kind of, what would you call this? A little study of American Glass research, got into
Well, let's
some of the
talk about that.
questions. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people watching who are like, "What? You did what? You
Yeah.
drove? You went to Washington D.C. last weekend, right? So you went to Washington, and there was a big thing happening in Washington. I guess it was on Saturday, right?
Yeah, the
And
Save the
you
Republic. I don't even know who really put that on. Brett Weinstein is where I saw it, but it was, Bobby Kennedy and all kinds of fancy people speaking there.
so you went to that on Saturday, and then you went from Washington D.C. to Butler, Pennsylvania,
Yeah,
which that's almost as far as Miami to Seattle. I mean,
not
that's a
really.
long trip.
Well,
Washington D.C. to north of Pittsburgh,
but wasn't
dude,
I
that is
already
way
kind of
west.
south, though, on my way there?
Yeah, but Pittsburgh is so far west, man. Pennsylvania is like the size of North Dakota.
The
Driving
thing,
back from Pitt, you didn't notice that it took forever to
it
get
did. It
back
was a
from
lot of
Pittsburgh?
driving, but
Yeah,
I'll tell you the truth.
yeah.
The real reason for going there wasn't Butler. It was initially because I got a lead. Did you see this? This was a lead on what was supposedly Max Urich's apartment. I've been doing a lot of stuff here for people who haven't. It's funny. It's difficult to find things, in my opinion, on X. It is much better now that Elon Musk has taken it over, but it's still difficult to find videos in particular. I did a video where I went to this apartment in Pittsburgh, which is, I was told by somebody that's a professional investigator that maybe we'll get into, but I was told that this was Max Urich's apartment here. I investigated the thing. This is a pretty sketchy neighborhood in Pittsburgh. Had a nice lunch at Big Jim's, some kind of cafe. Big Jim,
So this
he's
is
right
last
there.
Sunday. This is last
Yeah,
Sunday. You're
this
in
might have been
Pittsburgh,
Monday.
Pennsylvania?
This was Monday.
Okay,
Raining like
okay.
crazy. I think residual from the hurricane. But I checked out this location in a variety of ways. We won't waste time talking about it now. People can see this by following me on X at JG_CSTT. It's also on Odyssey, etc. This is about a 10, 11-minute video. I parked in front of this location. I've got a 4K dash cam. People can see the Crowdsource the Truth vehicle there. I won't describe it because I don't want people following me in my car, but I put a 4K dash cam on there, parked it in front of the apartment, went in, had lunch. I thought I had something huge because when I parked, there was a Jeep right behind this Subaru WRX, and when I came out, it was gone. And I was like, oh, let me check that dash cam and see if we see Urich exiting in his Jeep. It wasn't. It was two people leaving this restaurant, looked nothing like Maxwell Urich, and they drove off. The mail, some Amazon packages waiting there were not addressed to Maxwell Urich. Plus, we still have a proliferation of evidence that suggests that Max Urich is dead, shot in the face on the roof. So I'm confident that this was not his address. We'll talk in the future about who might have been motivated to deceive me, to send me there, who I think was behind that. I have a pretty good idea, but we're still investigating that. What do you think of this, John?
Again, this this is like the whole aspect of the investigation. I'm like, to me, it's just it's hard for me to comprehend the people part. That it's like I just like, what, huh? People, names, it's like Mary
It's a
Lou
different
Danley.
area, right? You've got expertise
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
ballistics and math,
Thank
and
God
that's
you're
where
good
you're
at this.
comfortable.
Thank
And I'm
God
doing
you're
this
good
kind
at
of
this.
stuff.
Yeah,
Talking
no,
to
thank
people,
God.
looking up names,
Look at all the
finding
eyewitnesses.
addresses.
Look at all the
Yeah.
eyewitnesses you've had on the show, dude. I mean, we've had more eyewitnesses than anybody. I told you, I scare people. You don't want me talking to people.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far, but we've got different areas of expertise and it overlaps nicely. So then after that, I figured, well, Pittsburgh, we're not that far off from Butler. So let me just go there and see. The other thing that was happening that I just don't really understand why this happened, but there seemed to be a huge rash of social engineers who have decided to go back to this muzzle flash in the window thing. We'll talk about that. I also, we're going to talk, when we get to the sponsor exclusive segment, we're going to talk about this right here. So this is an image of an individual who, you and I have spoken with Erin Auten about this golf cart, somebody driving a golf cart who apparently showed her photographs on their phone, which she described as two different dead people, not Thomas Crooks. And through the crowdsourcing process, a variety of different people had identified an individual named Kenneth Metrick as the person who was driving the golf cart. I can now reveal that in my search for golf cart guy, I did locate Ken Metrick. Our sponsors are going to get to hear the conversation that I had with him on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, and all the other Crowdsource the Truth sponsorship channels. When we're done with this intro segment, John, what do you think about closing in on golf cart guy?
It's huge. So I want the audience to know that you and I had his name. You got his name 2 months ago. Yeah. You've been sitting on his name for a while. So through the audience, we had somebody who was watching the show that we did with Erin. By the way, the show that we did with Erin, you were able to get in touch with her, get her to come on the show. I thought that was a great discussion. And on the Johnny Hoover channel, that has like over 250,000 views or something, man.
Whoa.
It's huge.
Wow, I
Take
didn't
a look.
know that.
Yeah,
take a look at that.
sort by popular. Sort by popular. Hit the little popular tab there. Right there next to latest.
Oh, yeah.
Next to latest.
Oh, wow. That's the biggest video on the... Whoa.
Of all of our
Wow.
podcasts. 240,000 views, 237.
Amazing.
So people really responded to hearing what she had to say. She shared this experience that she was in the golf cart, I guess, with him, and that he showed her his phone. She told us what she thought
Was
she
she
saw.
in it, or did they drive up to her? She observed him and some passenger, is what I recall.
I don't recall.
Maybe
In
they
fact,
drove her somewhere. She was hanging out at the airport.
She said something about water, and there was water in the golf cart. He was handing out water.
Oh, right.
So, and we got the name from one of our viewers. One of our viewers said, "Oh, that's so and so, and he's a big muckety muck at Butler Farm Show. He's one of
Right.
the key guys.
Yep.
So we had that, but you've sat on it until you could get out there in person. So that's why this is exciting for me, because I know that you knew his name for some time and you were eager to connect with the guy, and the fact that you waited, because you call a lot of people, right? I mean, you
Yep.
could have called this guy and just said, "Hey,
Well,
are you the guy with the golf cart?"
yeah.
Aaron
I
said
was
you're the guy
worried.
with the golf cart, right?
I was worried he'd get
Well,
spooked, and I wanted to be able to gauge the look on his face when I asked
I'm
him the
excited.
question and everything.
I
Yeah.
can't wait
So
to see
I haven't even told you the outcome of this, or I've been sitting on this now for a few days because I want people to really.
This is going to be great. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But you've prepared a
and
ton of stuff, right?
I've got a bunch of stuff to show the YouTube audience. You got a bunch of footage that we're going to share with the patrons. So when we get to the patron only hour, you were walking around AGR last week. So after you saw this guy, you poke around and you're like, And so I want you to share with the audience, when we get to the patron only portion, I want you to share with the audience some of what you saw when you got to the AGR property, right? So you got there, you got to see it, you filmed some stuff. We're going to share that with the audience. This is the type of investigation that I don't think anybody is doing. I don't think anybody's seeing these type of results. You know, when Benny goes there, he jumps up on the roof, he's got a drone. Next thing you know, he's got $1 million worth of 3D animation going on. And none of it's really meaningful. Yeah, it's like, dude, who did that for you? Is that your sister-in-law knows how to use Blender that well? Wow. You know, that is pretty impressive. That's dude, that's money. That, you know, you just don't get stuff like that. So the question is it meaningful? And I think that you mentioned a moment ago that we've been getting a lot of social engineering bubbling up in the periphery. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the social engineers, the GEC guys, the FBI guys who've got the UCOs under their control, they know that Congress is starting to take our research really seriously. And, you know, they're looking at the whole picture here, right? So they're not just looking at the ballistics and the trajectories. I remember in one of the hearings, Corey Mills brought up Max Urich and said, who the hell is Max? Or, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, who is Max Urich? Where is this guy? Is he dead? Is he alive? How is, you know, is he or is he not relevant? So he's bringing it up. Corey Mills, by the way, is also on the guest list for the rally. So Corey Mills is also on that list. So he'll be there, I believe, unless he can't make it. So he was invited by President Trump.
He's rescuing people in North Carolina. I saw he's running. Oops.
He does a lot of this.
He's not supposed to be blocked. That's a mistake. Sorry, Corey Mills. He's not blocked. There we go. Yeah. So basically, I saw. That's funny. This is weird. Maybe this is a fake Corey Mills. Oh, press. Yeah, no. I think I blocked that because I thought it was fake. The real Corey Mills is Corey Mills FL. There it is. Yeah, I knew he wasn't blocked. Is that his, or is that somebody imitating him? Maybe that's another account controlled by his people.
No. Yeah. It's his office. So
I had blocked that for some reason in the past.
Eli Crane has one too.
He might be busy rescuing people in North Carolina, but you're right. Corey Mills has caught on to some of this stuff, and I'm hopeful that he'll continue reporting on that.
Indeed. And, you know, again, in his testimony, so we're going to look at a couple clips here in a second of Higgins. It's Clay Higgins, right, from Louisiana, and Mark Green. Both zero in on some of the stuff that we've been reporting. And they did it in Congress. You know, this is a hearing. This is a formal session. And we're going to take a look at that. And so the fact that we've got people in Congress taking this research real seriously, they're looking at your photographic evidence, they're looking at the ballistic stuff, they're trying to figure out, what does this indicate? Does this indicate an actual conspiracy, which just means there's two people that commit a crime together, two or more, right? That's all it is. So if there's two or more people involved, right? I think that's why when we did the show, we did that special show Tuesday night for the Las Vegas shooting, and a lot of people learned for the first time that there were 3 women checked into the room with Stephen Paddock, and nobody knew that, like Katie, Joanne, and Laura. It's like, so those aren't accomplices if they're in the room with the 24 guns and all the ammo, and that's not a conspiracy if they had anything to do with it? It's like, so if somehow they did a hell of a job making the word conspiracy a dirty word. It's just two people doing a crime. It's like every movie, there's two guys doing the crime, right? It's not just one guy.
You've
How
raised
many
an
movies?
excellent point, John. It's not just
Right?
that they've made conspiracy a dirty word. They've changed most people's understanding of what the word conspiracy actually means, to the extent that I think many people think, if you say, well, that's just a conspiracy, they think that means what you're saying is false, when in fact we're often talking about an acknowledged criminal conspiracy. It's just a debate over who the co-conspirators actually were.
It's just this, it to me, it's the difference between, was it really a lone gunman or not? Because or not is, well, then it's a conspiracy. It's like if there's anybody else assisting in this, right? That's a conspiracy. Like the Floyd Malvo, remember the two guys in Virginia, they were shooting out the back of a van. It had the pop down license plate. One was a kid, one was an older guy.
Oh yeah, the DC sniper, right?
Yeah. So it's a conspiracy. It's two people, right? It's not a theory. It's two people shooting out of a van. So Bill K, yeah, I mean, this whole conspiracy theory notion, you got to hand it to them that they've turned the term into a pejorative term.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy. All we're trying to figure out is there more to the story, right? Is this more, there's more to this than a 20-year-old kid on the roof? And if so, who is this person? And if it's not, in other words, we've got a bunch of missing people right now. We can't seem to locate Max Urick, can't seem to locate Keenan Hooper, what's his name?
Keenan Hooper, yeah.
Can't seem to locate Thomas Crooks, unless that's who we see walking around in a hoodie.
Yeah, I think I found him.
That's going in July. Yes,
right.
Yeah. But we need more footage of that. It's like now you got me. It's like now you teased us. I want you to go do a stakeout outside the Crooks house. Maybe they won't notice that you were parked out there for 14 hours in a row.
Have asked me to do that.
All right, let's take a look at a couple things that I think are important before we go to the patron-only portion of the show. I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, but let's take a look at this clip in the folder. Mark Green on the 9th shot. This is a congressional hearing, and so this is public domain content, so we can broadcast this. And this is Mark Green on the 9th shot. This is key because this is what we've been reporting here on the show. So let's take a listen to how he handles this.
I move a little bit. Sorry, hang on. We got some audio going in the back. Let me just make sure we kill that first before we get rid of that.
Do you think he just sort of ducked because he was taking incoming fire? Law enforcement activity fired the first shot. Is that correct? That maybe hit you mentioned maybe that he withdrew. Do you think he was hit, or do you think he just sort of ducked because he was taking incoming fire?
In speaking with the officer that fired that shot, he's very confident that his round was on target. And the way he described him, it wasn't a duck.
Is the doctor still available and online?
Yes, I am.
Were there two bullet wounds in this individual, or just one, the headshot?
No, it was just the one.
Okay. I just found it interesting that when we were briefed by the FBI, we didn't get told about that shot taken by the local guys. Lieutenant Harrell, did Secret Service, the shooter apparently had the gun stored somewhere.
He's curious.
And Clay Higgins is asking the same question. So let's go to the Clay Higgins clip. Higgins on shot number 9. They're both talking about this 9th shot. And the guy who's testifying in front of them is the leader of the whole tactical team. So Greg Nichols and Michelle Nichols and everybody who's on the tactical stuff reports into this goofball who's sitting here. And Clay Higgins is also going to put the screws to the guy. All right, same issue is this 9th shot that this guy says he shot back at the kid on the roof. Let's turn it to Clay Higgins. See, Clay pinned this guy to the mat.
shot number 9. Shot number 9 during the interviews with the Secret Service and FBI. They commonly step over shot number 9. They say Crooks fired 8 rounds, and then the Secret Service fired the killing shot, shot number 10. But there was a shot number 9 fired, was there not, Mr. Lenz?
There was.
Okay, Commander, I'm gonna quote from the transcribed interview of Aaron Zalapone. That's a tactical SWAT officer under your command that took shot number 9. He was deployed. He heard the radio traffic. He saw the commotion. He left his deployed position and ran into a position where he thought he might be able to get a shot on if there was a shooter up on a roof, somebody on a roof. He said seconds after that is whenever the first 3 shots were fired. So I hear the first 3, crack, crack, crack. And at this point, I'm like, okay, where we at here? I look up, that's when I see Crooks. I got his head, his shoulders. I can see a rifle. At that point, I hear another crack. That's when I start pulling my weapon up. He gets 3 off. As I'm getting my target acquired, I'm getting my red dot up. I can see the gas emit from his barrel, his muzzle. Then right after that, I hear the snap of his 5th shot go off. Then immediately after that, I press one off, and that's when he immediately goes down. When I say goes down, it wasn't like he was ducking to get out of the way. I mean, I know I hit him. Like, there's no doubt about it. He goes down. He kind of jerks to the right, and then he slumps over slowly, and then kind of slowly rolls backward out of my field of view. So at that point, I did not have a second shot. At that point, he tries to recover. 2 seconds after that, the Secret Service, from a different vantage point, a higher vantage point, takes the killing shot. So my final question, if I may, to the doctor. Are you here with us, Doctor?
Yes, I
Dr.
am.
Goldschmidt. You stated, sir, and I know you're doing your best. You performed the autopsy. I've observed your work. I think it was very professional work, in my opinion. You stated that there was only 1 bullet wound. I accept that you had only 1 observable bullet wound. Are you there, Doctor?
Yes, I am.
Thank
Yes,
you
I
very
am.
much. Could the injuries on Crook's shoulders have been caused by a combined impact of Butler County ESU shot number 9 striking somewhere in the vicinity of the buttstock of Crook's rifle, and some fragmenting from that impact? Could the injuries on Crook's shoulders have been caused by a combination of shot number 9 and shot number 10? Is that possible?
No, I don't believe so.
You don't believe it's possible. Does that mean it's possible?
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible. So I respect your testimony, but how would you determine if you removed only 1 fragment of a bullet? The FBI recovered no other bullets, that's our understanding, no other projectiles other than the partial projectile that you recovered from his shoulder.
Huge.
So you don't know
Hang
where
on, hit
shot
pause,
number
hit
9
pause.
went, did you, Doctor?
This is huge. So what he just said is the FBI told them, this committee, they only recovered a fragment of a bullet from the kid on the roof's shoulder, meaning that came from the Secret Service. That's not helping.
But it's also only 1.
They didn't recover.
There's only 1.
And it's a fragment, and it's those aren't the bullets we care about. We care about the bullets in Copenhagen, in David Dutch.
Yeah, where are those?
In Corey Comparatori.
The dirt
Those are the
behind them.
rounds by the pond. Those are the rounds we want to find, not the ones that came from the Secret
FBI's
Service.
busy,
We
man.
know-
They're hosing
we
off
know
the
how
roof.
to track those. Yeah, we
They
know
got
how to track
photos
those
to
back to
retouch. Busy.
All right, so he's catching on to the same thing, which is there's only 1 wound in the kid on the roof, and it's in his head. There's not 2. And just to open up, if you would, that PDF, and we'll go to the patron-only portion. But here's what we were talking about 3-4 weeks ago. We showed the audience this image, and we said, how in the world could this Butler ESU guy, Zalapone, have fired around and clipped the stock of the rifle without shooting the kid's face off or hitting him in the clavicle? It would have to, it's like, huh? That would show up on the autopsy.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Mark Green and Clay Higgins, whether it's them directly or their staffs, have been watching because they took this and they took it to the mat and they asked the doctor who performed the autopsy, was there a wound consistent with what this officer is claiming? They just caught Butler ESU committing perjury.
Pretty
That's
amazing.
huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. So when we get to the patron only portion, we'll get to see more of what you've done in Butler. We'll take a closer look at, again, we're trying to account for 8 rounds fired by the bad guys, and it seems somebody's trying to cover up the 9th shot. Why would that be? Why are they trying to hide who took the 9th shot, where it came from? It obviously didn't hit the kid on the roof. Right? Kid on the roof only has one bullet.
There's something important here, John, that you're getting at, which is, a lot of people have put these kind of black pill comments in like, Congress isn't going to do anything. And they maybe perceive us as trying to like, ooh, we want to be on the Congress show. That is not it at all. Of course, that would be nice to get the residual benefit of a lot of people seeing this and understanding that we can't continue without individual sponsors going to subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, or odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Of course, additional sponsorship would help us carry on with this investigation, but actually, what you and I have endeavored to do is happening right before our very eyes. We don't care what that committee does, because remember, they kicked Corey Mills and Eli Crane off of the official committee, or rather they wouldn't let them join it because they want to have a basically an impotent committee that will not do anything. But what we are doing is making this information go so wide and be known by so many people. That is the benefit of being there during these congressional hearings, whether it's us or them. We just want to force their hand to make it undeniable that these are the facts, and the people are not going to stand for this kind of standard congressional nonsense.
I sense a tipping point, though. I sense that this is different from anything we've seen before. I saw Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, right? Like he was upset. And he hates Trump. But it's like this seems to cut across the party lines, which is, wait a second, when you start talking about shooting people in the head, as Corey Comparatori was, right? David Dutch was shot twice. James Copenhaver was shot twice. Those guys barely survived. The fact that they lived, is kind of miraculous in and of itself. And Corey Comparatori was killed instantly. So, but the fact that we have no rounds, the FBI saying, yeah, no, we don't know what happened to those bullets. We can't find them. We don't know what happened to them. It's kind of ridiculous. Weird. And we're done looking for them. So it's the extent of this cover-up that I think, is this the tipping point? Is this the event? Is this the case where finally Congress starts to do something? We saw Eric Holder get held in contempt of Congress. Nothing happened. They're now talking about Blinken getting held in contempt of Congress, the first Secretary of State to be held in contempt. Nothing's going to happen, right? This event may be the tipping point because so many people feel vulnerable themselves, and most of Congress and the Senate is narcissistic, so it comes down to, well, that means they could kill me. And that's what matters.
There's another factor, though. There's another important factor, John. We've had a lot of these incidents, 9/11 and the fires in Maui, the Vegas shooting that you and I have spoken about so many times, all these like big, deep state events where we never seem to find out the truth. But see, the difference here is the guy who was the target of it is about to become president. And so all of these deep state swamp rats realize that if Trump is watching, they could be in some serious trouble. So I agree with you. We are in uncharted territory here. My lawsuit against the Beaver County District Attorney threatens to bring forward information that will crush. We got a lot to talk about. So I hope everybody will join us right after this. Stay with us. If you're not already a sponsor, make your way over to subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, odyssey.com/@Crowdsource the Truth, or any of the other Crowdsource the Truth sponsorship channels. Huge thank you to everybody who sponsors the show. I would not be able to drive to Max Urich's house or to American Glass Research or do any of the stuff that we're doing without the support and sponsorship of you, the viewers. Thanks for watching, everybody.